and then they're gonna post a link under this video, right?
Yes, sir. Do the one tweet about Mona Lisa.
We have one more. I just have a 3:30, but yeah, I'll do your thing, Dylan. No, this is actually a fun segment. It's called More Than 240. So the 240 is the character limit on Twitter, and we want to know what you meant.
Oh yeah,
during some of these tweets.
Okay.
Just that one.
This one.
Okay.
The Mona Lisa was a self-portrait. If you understand this, then you have seen. I actually do want to know now.
Okay, dude, this is super fucking deep, dude. This is super deep. And I mean, how much are you in a rush? Like,
yes.
How much? Yeah, okay. let me think of the best way I could sum this up.
My brain is fried.
Wait, hold on. You're saying
yes? I think that's what he's saying. You're about to throw up.
Mona Lisa painted herself?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Oh,
no.
shit.
Okay. Leonardo da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa.
But is he a
Okay.
woman?
No. Okay. Why do you think the Mona Lisa is the most famous painting in the world?
Because everywhere you go in the room, she looks at you.
She has no eyebrows.
She kind of does, but think about it. What have you seen the Mona Lisa?
I saw.
In the Louvre?
It's tiny.
Yeah, it's not that big.
Tiny.
Right? Okay. Why the fuck is the Mona Lisa the most famous painting in the world? Have you thought about that? Like, why? Why is that? It's not the most crazy painting. Like, there's other paintings that are like huge battles. It's like that are like huge, insane masterpieces. You're like, how the fuck did someone paint that? The Mona Lisa is just a small little painting. Why is it so famous?
The artist?
What is it about it? What is it about it?
The artist?
Well, what do you think?
Painting it?
Her effervescent essence?
Her relatability? She got
the expression
brown
on her
hair.
face, right?
Yeah.
The Mona Lisa smile.
Yeah.
Right? The Mona Lisa smile. There's something about that little smirk
Yeah, what's her problem?
that's so mysterious.
Yeah.
That's so mysterious.
What's she-
Oh, it was the
Right?
first resting bitch face.
Oh my God. Great call out. That's so true.
You know that Rick Ross line is like, Mona Lisa to me ain't nothing but a bitch.
Yeah.
That's hard. Okay, okay. I'll just put it like this, and we can get into the whole story another time or something.
I feel like we have to be high to like finish this
Yeah,
conversation.
you kind of do. You kind of do. But I'll just put it like this. I had an out-of-body experience in 2012 that happened completely spontaneously out of nowhere. I was not under the influences of any drugs. It happened in my sleep, but I experienced a reality that was not of this reality. Okay, and it had levels, it had stages. It was earth shattering. I did not know it was possible to experience this kind of consciousness, right? But it happened completely out of nowhere, but also completely like at a moment that in my life, like that was exactly like
It made sense.
it made the more sense than anything.
Yep, got
right?
it. Got it.
I'll say this. It started off. All right, okay. I'm just gonna say this because I could talk about this for like an hour. Okay, but it had levels to it. There were multiple stages. It was vivid. It was more vivid than this reality. I felt an energy in my body that felt like a million watts of electricity shooting like down through my pineal gland, down through my spinal column, and radiating through every cell in my body that was like that created like a complete tidal wave of like orgasmic bliss. That was like it was more intense and earth shattering than I didn't even know it was possible to experience this. Words don't do it justice, right? That's how it started, and it had multiple levels. At the final level, I was face to face with a being, okay, a being that had that it didn't say anything. And I can describe to you exactly what the being looked like, but I'm not going to right now. But I'll just say this. It didn't say anything, but it communicated everything telepathically. There was like an intense, insane information download as I was gazing into this being's eyes. And the expression on the being's face, okay, the expression on its face, when I came out of it, when I snapped back down into reality, and I was trying to trying to pinpoint and express what its expression was like. The best way I could describe it is the Mona Lisa.
So, okay. I'm gonna
You're giving me goosebumps.
Yeah,
fine.
me too. Me too.
I got him.
I can't believe I just shared this like with the whole world. But if anybody kind of relates to what I'm saying, then you know.
Two quick things. One, how does that make it a self-portrait? Just out of curiosity.
That's my first
Question number one.
I know.
And then two, I want to, because I know you have a 3:30 out. I gotta
If
say
you want to
this.
continue this, which I think you should,
gotta say.
Do you want to continue this?
Sure.
Okay. Honestly, I have to take this call.
Got it. Question. The only other thing I'm going to ask.
I'm gonna.
Thank you.
this will be
Thank
the-
you for having me,
This will be
bro.
the first time I watch my own podcast, just because I want to see what you say.
Thank you for
I
having me,
appreciate
bro.
you for real.
Appreciate you, bro.
I might be back depending if you guys are still going. Please continue this conversation.
Self-portrait is number one, and I want you to explain that. But number two, do you understand that I spent the entire first part of this podcast trying to protect the fact that you were a part of some sort of fucking Illuminati, and you have just destroyed every single ounce
Yeah.
of fucking credibility.
Okay,
that I
well,
fucking
let
had.
me say this, right? What does the Illuminati mean?
It means a hyper elite class that oversees.
No. What does the actual word Illuminati
light.
mean?
Light.
No. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're on the right track, but what is it?
lightning,
No, it means the enlightened ones.
the enlightened ones. That's what I said the first time.
So I'll just say this, right? This is another thing why I was getting involved with the conspiracy theories. I have the triangle on my chest, okay? I have a tattoo.
You have it on your back too.
Yeah, I have the tattoo of the all-seeing eye, okay? And that symbol to me, it doesn't have anything to do with a secret organization. Doesn't have anything to do with a secret cabal. Doesn't have anything to do with governments, control. It doesn't have anything to do with that. To me, that symbol means one thing: hidden knowledge, higher knowledge, God consciousness, the eye of providence. Okay? There is higher consciousness that can be experienced. People experience it all the time. People from all walks of life. It doesn't have anything to do with being an elitist. It doesn't have anything to do with being rich. It doesn't have anything to do with being wealthy. It doesn't have anything to do with being famous. It is every human being's birthright to experience that higher consciousness. It's within you. It's within you. It's always been within you. And all you have to do is tap into it.
How? Is there any question? How? Is there any chance? Look back to that night. You went to dinner. You're out at dinner with Tom and Rita. Is there any chance that a small amount of adrenochrome had somehow found its way into your Capri Sun? Bro, listen to me.
I know that this is like.
I'm not. I'm
no, no, I
sorry.
mean, like,
I'm making light of a
I
very
know.
important. I'm sorry,
No,
and
it's
I
all
believe
good.
you.
It's all good. It's all good.
What do you think triggered it?
To put it in the most simple words, just awareness of the reality of God, of how real God is. God's not something way out there at the far edges of the universe. God's as close as your jugular vein. The kingdom of God is within you. It's not something outside of you. It's something within you.
May I ask? Do you mean like
There's
a Holy
nothing more.
Spirit?
No, there's nothing more real than God.
Oh, I agree. with
God
you.
is the only reality.
I need to hear about the catalyst, though.
And
What was the catalyst? Did you did you go to church earlier that day and hear a sermon that moved you? Did
catalyst
you read the Bible? Like,
the catalyst was just the evolution and growth of my spiritual life. The
What-
spiritual
okay.
life
Oh, is
within
that
me.
when you started becoming a spiritual man?
I started becoming a spiritual man when I was 17 years old, and I was sent to a wilderness program. I was taken out of my bed when I was 17. I was in a very rebellious stage of my life, and I was kidnapped by two large men who appeared in my room at 4 a.m. and said, "You're coming with us." And they said,
this is unfucking real.
and they said,
Wait, if you don't mind me asking, what do you mean by that? That's a pretty like.
No, that happens. Go on.
Wait, what are you talking about? Is this by? And,
Okay, this is
sorry
on-
for my ignorance. Is this like your parents wanted you to go to a
"Can I have
camp?
another water?" Thanks, bro.
Is this like a
No,
like you were
okay, so-
misbehaving and they wanted you to?
I was
learn?
misbehaving. This is May 30th, 2008. May 30th, 2008. I was 17. Yeah, I was misbehaving. I was in my junior year of high school. Okay. I wake up one night, lights turn on in my room. I look at my clock. It's 4 a.m. I look down at the foot of my bed. There's 2 huge like bouncer looking fools, bald heads, standing at the foot of my bed. And they go, "You're coming with us. Your parents are sending you to get some help. Thank you. We could do this the easy way or the hard way."
Which one did you pick?
The easy way.
I respect that.
Because I thought they were sending me to like a fucking rehab with like Lindsay Lohan or some shit. I was like, woohoo, let's go. I don't have to go to school. I'll go to fucking hang out in a rehab with, Lindsay Lohan.
Britney Spears.
Like,
and
this will
shit.
be
Yeah.
sick. There'll be a hot chick there. I'll meet her. Like, okay, like.
Are you happy that situation happened to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But not in the way that they package it. Not in the way that they sell it to your parents, in a way that was just came from within me.
So at this wilderness camp, that's where you end up finding this newfound spirituality. Is that what you're saying?
At a single moment.
Now, what was that? What was that moment?
That moment was I had already been there for like 10, 12 weeks.
Holy fucking
How
shit,
long is the
dog.
situation?
That's a lot. What is that, like 3 months?
No, when you get there and you say, "When am I leaving?" They go, well, that's really up to you.
So like this sounds to me like I've talked to other people who have been put in boarding schools.
Yeah, I went to a boarding school
Got
after
it.
that.
So it
for
sounds-
like
okay.
a year and some change.
Okay, so you're at this wilderness camp. What happens? What is this catalyst?
And I'm so sorry to interrupt. Just to paint a vivid picture in our audience's mind, are you going to school in this situation? Is it
Not in the wilderness, but then afterwards they have then after you go in the wilderness program, then they send you to another program, which is like a school, very restrictive, obviously not like a regular boarding school. It's like a reformatory. And that's where I finished up my high school credits.
why the wilderness?
The wilderness, that's just what these programs do, man. It's like a shock to the system. It's like it's kind of like a punishment and also like a reset. You know what I mean? It's like
Got
a,
Go to ground one.
yeah.
Got
I mean,
it.
you're completely, I'll
We have all the time now.
I'm also just going to continue to tell you, I can't protect you anymore. Like
It's all good, it's all
because
good.
you went from
I'm going deep. I don't give a shit. This is the only thing. I'm going deep because this is this is the only stuff like this is really all I ever care to talk about. Everything else is just waiting.
We're all
around.
ears, man.
It's
I'm
just
super
waiting
invested.
around for conversations like this to pop up. That's why I'm really glad you guys asked me this moment. Like, I'm glad you guys took it there. Like, thank you.
That's
You know,
all.
That was Dylan.
Dylan.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Dylan
Thank
killed
you.
it.
You killed it.
So going back to when this happened, what was that moment and why was that moment so significant that it transferred this version of you to a spiritual version of you?
I'd already been there for like 10, 12 weeks without any sign of leaving anytime soon. Because they don't tell you when you're going to leave. They decide when you leave. So they can keep you as long as they want. And I was at a point in my life where I was just like really in a bad place. Extremely angry, extremely resentful, hating everything, right? And I was also an atheist at this time. And one day I wake up and I had already been there for so long, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna do something different today." And I'm like, "Oh, we're gonna do something different?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna go on a hike, a day hike." I'm like, "Oh, a hike? We only fucking hike every single day." Oh, great, more hiking. You know what I mean? So they're like, "No, but we're going on a day hike. We're gonna go hike to the top of this mountain." Okay. I'm like, okay, yeah, great. So we're hiking to this mountain. There weren't any mountains. Like, it was flat. It was desert the whole time. So there was we were in the area, there was a mountain. So I had there weren't any, the whole time I had been there, there was nothing to look at. It's like dirt, bush, shrub, you know what I'm saying? Like rock, repeat, that's all there is. You know what I'm saying? So we're hiking to the top of this mountain, and I'm getting more and more angry as we're hiking. And I'm like, fuck this fucking so
mountain.
Angry, dude.
Yeah, I feel you.
So angry. And then when we got to the top of the mountain, they're like, "Okay, yeah, now go have lunch, open up your food bags and have lunch." And everybody in the group, there was 12 other dudes there, kids with me in the group, 4 staff, and all the other dudes, like, you know, got in a circle and, you know, were like, you know, like fucking around, cracking jokes, eating their lunch. And they didn't even take a second to stop and like look around at the view. And that kind of like struck me as weird. They're like, we're just like bullshitting, but didn't even take a second to look around. So instead of going and eating lunch with them, I went off to like and sat on the edge of this cliff and was just looking out at the view. And as I was looking out at that view, man, and I was looking at where I had been from an elevated perspective, right? Because I'd been stuck in this desert for 12 weeks and it just looked ugly and boring and there's nothing to look at. But now I'm looking at it from this elevated perspective at the top of this mountain. And I was so overcome by the beauty of it. And it was like, it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Looking out 360 degrees as far as you can see, not a speck of humanity, not a single footprint of humanity, not a road, not a cabin, nothing. Okay, that's how remote we were. We were 2 weeks hike to the nearest town, hiking every day.
Where is this, by the way?
Southern Utah.
Got it.
Oh, that's
Beautiful.
You're
Wow,
so
that's
remote. You're
Yeah.
so remote, dude. If you hike, you gotta walk all day, every day for 2 weeks before you get to the nearest town. That's how remote you are. So I'm looking around and I'm so overcome by emotion, dude. It felt like I was touched by the hand of God. It was like at that moment, God revealed himself to me. And it just, all that anger and that hate and that resentment flipped, it inverted to just infinite like hope, gratitude, peace, love. It just flipped on a dime like that. And I was so overcome by emotion. I just sat at the edge of that cliff and I wept. I wept for an hour. Uncontrollable weeping for like an hour. It did not cease. But tears of joy.
Yeah, of course.
Tears of joy, but tears of everything. Feeling every emotion at once. All the pain and all the joy.
Connectivity, the ultimate connected feeling. Have you
Everything.
ever taken
Everything.
psychedelic before?
Yes.
Have you ever had that experience on psychedelics?
Any
An unleashing of childhood trauma,
experience-
emotional.
Any experience I've had on psychedelics doesn't even come close to this.
Got it.
Doesn't even come close
Got
to
it.
this. And it was at that moment, that was the birth of my spiritual life. That was
Wow.
that was how I was overcoming. I knew, okay, no, there is something else out there. Okay. There is a higher power.
Wow.
There is higher intelligence. Because it felt like it had just tapped me on the shoulder.
So
That was the birth of my spiritual life.
Here's what that's fucking
Incredible
insane.
story.
Incredible
Thank
fucking
you, bro.
story.
Thank you.
What you just told me was that you hiked to the top of a mountain with a group of children, had a ceremony at the top of the mountain, and was called upon by a being of another level of power. You motherfucker. I just like once you like honestly, bro. What? No, I'm just kidding. That's fucking crazy.
No,
and then
it's funny
how
what you're
long?
saying.
And
It's
then
funny
how long between that and out of body experience night?
Several years. Several years.
And what about that period? What happened there? Did you continue to practice? Did you start a traditional religion
Okay, well,
experience?
So it's like that moment to me was like the first kind of spiritual like feeling that I'd ever had, right? It wasn't anything compared to the out of body experience that happened later. But that was like the first time I felt like the presence of God. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? So that was like the birth of my spiritual life. And as we and for anyone who can relate, I'm sure many people have had a moment like that in their lives. And then as you go through life, you continue to evolve spiritually. The spiritual life within you continues to evolve. You continue to have little other moments that feel like that, or where you feel the presence of God. And it's like, and it's your journey. It's your own story, right? So I had other moments, other little moments too, apart from that. You know what I'm saying? That
Not as,
like other moments that weren't that as profound as that.
but still memorable.
Yeah, but still memorable. And some of those moments did involve hallucinogenics.
How do you
Right?
practice?
You know what I
your
mean? Because
spiritual-
I really believe.
No, I do, because
I'm a huge advocate for that.
that's the only.
I'm a huge advocate.
That's the only place where I'm able to relate to that story, because I as someone who has a very juvenile spiritual connection that pales in comparison to the two of you. The only time I've ever been able to feel at that level has been under the influence of either mushrooms or LSD, and I've had that same experience. Where I've found myself overcome with emotion to a point where I could not stop crying. And I'm sure a lot of people who have taken DMT, LSD, mushrooms can relate to this experience. All of that anxiety you felt, all of that depression you felt, all of that childhood trauma, all of the times your dad did this, your mom said this, or your friends didn't do this, or all of those different experiences in life that have caused you pain or have caused you struggle or strife. Bubbling to the surface in this emotional avalanche that is released via tears.
Yes.
And I can relate to that
Totally.
in a powerfully and intimate way. But to hear it done without the influence of a hallucinogenic, which I hear from people who meditate a lot and end up in similar scenarios. We do this thing called breath work.
Absolutely.
As well. Have you ever heard of it before?
Absolutely. And I also do transcendental meditation.
Got it.
I'm a big advocate of that for as well.
I believe you can very simply route your way to a similar experience through those activities. I had a similar experience through breath work.
There is no substitute. There is no substitute. Like any psychedelics, like that is not as effective as what can be
Correct.
achieved completely naturally,
Correct.
completely soberly.
That's what I've heard.
That's the truth, dude.
Yep.
You don't need a psychedelic to do it. It's already within us. It's already within us.
It's just unlocking it, right? And the thing that you unlock through either psychedelia, breath work, transcendental meditation
works.
is
Whatever
the
works for you.
destruction of that front wall.
Absolutely.
That's what it is, and unlocking the actual subconscious. And so I did a breath work session here, which was 90 minutes of some of the most intense fucking breathing.
Do you do it with the Iceman?
Wim Hof.
Yeah.
I have not done anything with Wim Hof yet, but I've done it here to a point where all of my extremities started to curl into a ball, and because the air actually and the blood flow goes back to your core, and you actually lose control of your extremities, and you start to curl up. But I had this absolutely mind-blowing fucking experience that I found myself crying for 30 minutes straight. And there was you want to call it a shaman or a coach or whatever there with me, Lucas and his girlfriend, Lucas Mack and his girlfriend, right? Am I saying that right? I don't know. He was there guiding me. Yo, it's going to be okay. Like, keep it going. Like, stick with it. But just crazy. It's just mind blowing to know that you have access to that kind of stuff if you work at it.
Absolutely. It's a practice, and it's whatever works for you. There's no right way to do it. There's no right. There's a million ways to do it. It doesn't matter. And it's just whatever works for you. Every single person needs to figure out for themselves what it is that brings them closer to God. And there is no right or wrong way. It's up to you. You're completely free. We're all free to decide what we believe. What I believe, how I can conceive of God, it might be completely different than what someone else does, but it doesn't matter. If something is true to me, then you cannot take it away from me. What's true to you, I can't take away from you. Whatever you decide, this is how my out-of-body experience was precipitated from this, right? A few years after the experience in the desert, when I was in college, I was entering a new phase of my life, my development, where I was doing a lot of really deep contemplation and I was in an extremely positive and spiritual place where I was really doing a lot of deep contemplation on what is it I believe, right? What is it I believe? Okay, like those big questions of like the mysteries of the universe. What is God? What happens when we die? What is the meaning of life?
What is my purpose?
Who am I?
Yeah.
Where am I going?
Yeah.
What happens when we die? Okay, all these questions that are these deep questions that are the mysteries of the universe, right? Most people say, "Oh, I guess we'll never know." You know, I guess it's not meant for us to know. Maybe we'll know when we die. But yeah, we can't even. The human brain is too limited to even conceive of that, and they just write it off and they're like, "Oh, I guess we'll never know." Okay. That's not good enough for me. I don't believe that. I don't buy into that. I don't buy into that. I guess when I buy into, well, whatever makes sense to you in your mind, then that's what the truth is.
What about if those beliefs become dangerous or because we talked about this at the beginning of the show? Like, what about when those beliefs become dangerous, counterproductive to that pursuit of truth and are fueled by rumors that have been discredited, but are still what these people believe? Do you know what I'm saying?
I think it all just depends on whether it's helpful or hurtful.
Amazing answer. I
You
love
feel me?
that. Absolutely.
Because like, check this out. Like, let's take a question. Like, what happens when we die? Okay. Well, think about what I can ask you that, right? And I say, okay, well, even if you think that we'll never know, if you had to come up with your own, explanation, what would make sense to you in your rationale, in your logic, right? Well, think about it. I was just thinking, okay, well, what do I actually think? What do I think? Like use your imagination, right? As I started to contemplate what I believed these answers to be, and I started realizing, that is what I believe. I believe this. That's what I believe. It rings true to me. It rings true to me. So no one can take it away from me. The truth, your truth, no one can take away, even though someone else says, no, that's not the truth because they have a different one. Doesn't matter. That's yours, and this is an infinite universe we live in, and each human being is an infinite universe unto themselves, right?
Absolutely.
So your infinite truth, even if it's conflicting with someone else's infinite truth, doesn't matter. Doesn't make yours any less true. You feel me? Mm-hmm. So
you're like a multi-universe afterlife.
I don't know if I mean, I believe that all is one.
So all roads come to the same ending?
I believe that there's one source of all life, of all energy, of all light, of all love. There's one source, and that source is God. And there is no separation between us and that source.
Amazing.
I mean, I agree.
We are, yeah. So I'm looking out for the crew. Chet Hanks, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely fucking incredible episode. I think you need to either come back on this show or some other entity that exists within this realm to continue this conversation.
It was a pleasure. Anytime.
One more time on the socials, website. Just hit it one more time for these guys at the end.
Oh, yeah. Chet Hanks, ChetHanx on Instagram, theactorsadvantage.com. Let's get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching Impulsive. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Goodbye.